Now to my final topic. African women in philanthropy are making substantial contributions to the continent's development by addressing critical issues, empowering communities and advocating for social change. Dr. Anino Emua, founder of 100 Women at Davos, dropped by the studio on Monday to tell me more about her new philanthropic initiative.
First of all, Juliana, thank you very much for having me on your show here today. Women in Philanthropy Impact Africa came out of the launch of Africa Women CEOs Network, the London branch. We have been in operations now for about 5 years, and we decided to open the London branch. And we were with this group of amazing women, 12 of us, and 3 of them are actually heading foundations. And one of the key and important women in this initiative is the head of the chair of the Nigeria Philanthropy Office in Nigeria, Thelma Kiyo. And we're talking about the role of philanthropy and impact in Africa in driving systemic change, because this is an area that is really not covered by the private sector or the public sector. And a lot of entrepreneurship, especially female entrepreneurship, actually falls into this space with lack of funding. It was only a natural discussion to actually say that, look, who are the women who are in this space? And then we suddenly realized, and I asked the question, is there a network? And the answer was no. And we thought instantly, this is something that we have to do. And so it came out of that, and we immediately rallied around, got women from across the continent heading foundations or involved in the space, and here we are today. Well, this is it. I mean, you're absolutely right to begin with, in the sense of the role of the woman has actually been very often, right, in our continent in terms of bringing people together, during this kind of events and supporting financially as well. But in the formal space, not enough is being done. There's a bit of a misunderstanding of what philanthropy is in Africa. Very often people think about it in terms of charity. Charity is a type of philanthropy, but it's very different. It relates to things at a specific point in time. But philanthropy deals with systemic issues that have underlying causes that need to be addressed. And this is what we intend to do. But by not having, I mean, we have a lot of women in the space, but by not having a network, the visibility is low. When the visibility is low, access to funding is also low. And we see what women are doing globally, and I think it's important that women in Africa in philanthropy are actually plugged in to the global space to bring visibility and to have more structure about some of those social impact initiatives that we can help to bring about and really to get funded. Well, if we look at the data, very sadly, when it comes to women in political leadership and even in management, very sadly, Nigeria trails. We are 100 and something.
Strange.
So not enough is being done, even though we know we have extremely powerful people.
Yes.
But speaking about our president, and this was, within in a meeting, and I am delighted that I was able to address this point with him directly.
Wow.
And this was a few months ago after he came into power and after inauguration, and this was in France.
Yes.
And I loved his response. And he started off immediately by saying that my mother was a single mother, and I saw what she did for me.
Wow.
And so he had all the numbers, he had the data, so he was very conscious of it. So what I think we have seen so far is some very strong women who are actually in government right now. So the cabinet, right, is much better than we've seen in the past, but still not enough. And part of the reason is one, yes, you can appoint women to these positions, but it's more than that. The pipeline is really very important, and this is where we've had barriers. The pipeline of women into coming into the houses, into Senate, for example, the House of Assembly, has really been very difficult. And I think that these are the areas where we need to make sure we remove those and dismantle those barriers, not just from a sense of justice that women also want to be in leadership, but in a sense of inclusion for our country, because the data over and over shows that when you have more women in political leadership, in power, that the social and the economic benefits are such that it's better for everyone, men and women. So a lot needs to be done. The president has started, but we also need to look at, the houses, for example, and the political parties and what they do to allow women to rise to those positions where they can be elected. I think the thing is to let women know that you can have it all, but just possibly not at the same time. If you look at the career trajectories of women compared to men, there's this slow climb to the top, and then they get to the top and there's a cliff, right? With women, it's more like a wave, because there are things that get probably in the way. But then what happens is the career history of women very often is much longer. So we have the most amazing women who are global leaders from in Africa, people like Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Amina Mohammed, Christine Lagarde, for example. There's so many women in top levels. And if you look at their ages, they're in the 60s and beyond. Yeah. So the career lifespan of women has lengthened. And so the advice is really, you can have it, maybe not at the same time, but you can have it all. It's not about a race, it's a marathon. It's Absolutely. Getting there in the end.
Yeah, we've got lots to look forward to, haven't we? It's
Absolutely.
Such a pleasure speaking with you, Dr. Anino. I wish we had more time, but we certainly will be speaking to you again, and I'm sure you'll be back. Especially, no, you have a London chapter. You have a London chapter, so certainly you'll be here Absolutely. Very soon, and we'll have an update. Dr. Anino Emewa, who is the founder of 100 Women at Davos, as well as the founder of Africa Women CEO Network. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Juliana.
Thank you.